Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Health and Fitness Show with Tracy. I'm excited to bring another wonderful guest in the show. But first, for those of you who know me, you know my story. For those who don't, I've been in the fitness and health industry for nearly 30 years. I'm an author of 14 books. And if you follow me or don't follow me, if you're learning about me, I have done radio shows, written articles, I have videos on YouTube, and all the work I put out is to help people. And like one of my clients said once when he wanted a story shared, that was my first book. He said, even if his story helped one person, that one person's worth it. So that's what all my shows are about. So today we're going to get right into our guest. I'm so honored he's here, Scott Cole. So let me read you his bio. He was a national aerobic champion to star of the iconic Abs of Steel video series. And you had a book on that too. Scott Cole brings brain, brawn, spirit, and 4 decades of experience to his multi-dimensional workouts. He's the creator of over 1 million selling Discover Tai Chi video series. Scott blends both the martial and healing arts into workouts that leave you exhilarated and not exhausted. And I have some videos. A presenter of over 30 countries, Scott has also been a guest on Regis and Kelly, The View, CNN Headline News, CBS The Early Show, The Doctors, HGTV, The Food Network, and more. Scott has trained Hollywood elites, including actor Christian Bale, music icon Barry Manilow, Baywatch's Gina Lee Nolan, and others. An avid writer, Scott has contributed wellness articles to over 500 publications, including the Wall Street Journal, LA Times, Shape, Men's Fitness, Family Circle, and WebMD. He recently completed 5 years of clinical pain management, creating movement and meditative protocol for people in chronic and severe pain, and is excited to share his insights on moving through and out of pain, anxiety, tension, stress, addiction, and grief. So with that, welcome, Scott Cole.
Hey, Tracy. Good to see you. You look fantastic. I know we talked earlier about our ages, but you're defying the clock.
Oh, thank you so much. That's so nice. Okay, so there's so much about you, and I've learned with you through the Tai Chi,
Yeah.
and also, and I've sent it to you before. You had a cassette tape. It was a meditation, and it had a tree of life in it. So you would have visualize the spine and
Right.
branches. I listened to that like every day for a couple of years when I was going through some pain with my spine. I was scoliosis, I think, was trying to get worse. Where it helped me. It was like my thing. I would go home for lunch and I would eat. I'd make me food that's colored to the chakras, and I'd play like chakra balancing music, and I'd eat the food that matches each chakra. Then I'd lay on the floor and listen to that and go back to work. And it really, really helped me mentally, physically, and spiritually. So I don't know if I ever told you
that
part of
yeah,
that.
that was I think that was uncharted territory, or another meditation cassette that I did. And that makes me feel good because Tracy, that was early in my mind-body career, so I was just starting to record guided imagery. I did it live in classes quietly for years and then decided to record it. And
Really good. And years later, I ordered it again because I think I found it on Amazon years later. So I have one unopened still.
Wow, that's a classic. Hang on to it.
Yes, it is. It is. It's a great meditation. So, and then I've heard learning more about Tai Chi, but you have so much too. But let's start with what brought you to Tai Chi?
Well, I had been moving rather quickly for years. I was the national aerobic champion in 1987. And actually, I'm glad you asked this because I don't think you know the answer to this. But I a friend of mine in Los Angeles at the time, it was 1995. I had just completed Abs of Steel. And a friend of mine, just a casual friend, said, "Oh, I'm going to a Tai Chi class. You want to go? And I said, well, okay. And that was it. So he went one time. I went once, was blown away by the slow motion movement. And in 1988, I lost my sister and my dad separately within months of each other. So I had bottled up all this grief and tension and was traveling the world. My body had never looked better. So anyway, I was covering up a lot of emotional pain, I think, for 7 years. So when I was taking Tai Chi, I felt all this emotion coming up because, as you know, our body holds experience.
I know
Our
that.
our DNA, our muscle fibers, tendons, everything are loaded with memory. So as I was moving slowly, all of this stuff was coming up. So I actually had to leave class. So I went out to the parking lot and just sobbed for like an hour. And it's probably one of the few times I had done that in the last 7 years because I was so worried about my mother after all that, traveling the world with Jeff Vandiver, teaching aerobics in 30 countries. And then, yeah, so that brought me to Tai Chi. And then after that experience, I thought, I have to go back. So I took a month and then went back. And my master, Tim O'Connor, who's just delightful in Los Angeles, when I walked in late purposely because I didn't want to talk about why I hadn't come back. I walked in late, I stood in the back, I started moving, and he turned and looked at me and went like that, almost like, I knew you'd be back. And then that was it. I trained with him, and within a few years, I was putting Tai Chi into all of my workouts, way ahead of the fitness industry. The fitness industry was and has been very slow. They're there now. They're getting there now. But back then, yoga wasn't quite on the map.
Yeah.
I remember I created Nike Stretch for Nike, and I wanted to call it Nike Yoga. And they said, no, yoga isn't. It's too heebie-jeebie. And this was in the early 90s. So now you look at yoga and everything is out there. But anyway, so I went back and trained with Tim. And then within a few years, I got the offer to do the Discover Tai Chi series, which was a phenomenal offer. And I did that, starred in it, created it, directed by Andrea Ambandos, who directed me in Abs of Steel. And then off to the races. It was just PR blitz, boom. And I just kept going with Tai Chi, learning and implementing. And my goal was never to just do the long forms. There's plenty of masters throughout the world that do those better than I do. So I learned the Yang style long form and then took excerpts and made it palatable. So someone wanting to learn about Qi and energy can walk right into one of my classes and not have a daunting learning curve that makes them nervous and
Yeah.
quit. Yeah.
That's nice. So how long ago was that? It's like 30 years ago or?
Yeah, well, it was 1995 when I took my first class. And then the Discover Tai Chi series, we were booked to film November of 2001. So 9/11 happened. You know, we were all booked months, almost a year in advance. And 9/11 happened. Flights were just opening up again, and we were in Hawaii, all of us, as most Americans in the world, devastated by what happened. So a lot of energy went into those videos. I'm very proud of those because the set was very emotional. Everybody that was there, I was dedicated to bringing something marvelous, wonderful, beautiful, helpful to the fitness industry and America and the world. And we had filmed, all these magical videos. And we had to wait to release them because, as you may know, certain book titles, videos, America wasn't ready for months to receive new products or even look at them.
Yeah.
So it was a very interesting time period. And yet I feel like it helped instill just marvelous multidimensional energy and love into the videos. And to this day, I still get, so many comments and emails and people who just love those videos. And I do too. They're very special.
They are, and they're I don't find anything in your work and videos or books or thing I've experienced ego at all. It's just kindness and gentle and welcoming. And when I was in Oregon and I was teaching and they wanted them to teach Tai Chi. Teach Tai Chi. I was like, "Okay, let me just teach some things I got from Scott's videos." I'm like, maybe a couple months ago, I cannot teach Tai Chi, but I had clients in their 80s that loved to come.
Yeah.
One of them ordered your book. One of them ordered your videos.
Oh, nice.
Like does everything that I was doing, but it wasn't something. That's not what I could do. But it's a hard. I think it's hard to teach. I mean, you really have to know. I mean, it's not. You could just. It's not like you could take a weekend course and go be a teacher. It's not. It's
Right.
soulful in your blood and soul. It's a
I
life.
think, yeah, I think as a teacher, it's best to start by infusing, little bits of chi in your warm up and your cool down. That's how it started for me. Jeff Vandiver and I used to do a class called Cool Warm Ups and Hot Cool Downs. And I kind of took that philosophy. That was way before I started doing Tai Chi, but I took that philosophy into incorporating it into my programs, also knowing that there would be a learning curve. I mean, I was booked for conventions all over the world to teach, massively fun cardio and muscle stuff. So when I started doing this chi thing, it was a little bit like, oh, well, we're not sure we want that. So I had to kind of infuse it slowly.
Oh, was
And I,
there people think it was kind of hairy fairy, like they thought like
well,
ooh, we don't know what that is yet.
yeah, what I would do is I would infuse it into my martial cardio class,
Okay.
because as I've learned, any good or great martial artist needs to learn the soft styles like Tai Chi, the intrinsic, and the hard styles. And it's better to learn the soft first because then you know where your body is in time and space if you're doing a kick or a punch.
Yeah.
I always joke that I think women are actually better technique wise than your testosterone filled males because men want to get in there and just start punching before they learn the technique. And
Yeah.
women, it's in general, women tend to like to learn the technique and move into it. There's always exceptions to each gender, of course,
We
but
want to be safe. We don't want to get injured.
well, yeah, and that's why I'm grateful. I had the luxury. I had two really powerful women in my classes. I taught at Karen Voigt's studio in LA for
Oh,
years, and
I love her.
that's why yeah, I love her too, and that's why I built up a big audience with Jeff Vandiver and also solo. We taught Paula Abdul, Kevin Bacon, Juliet Prowse used to take my morning class, Fanola Hughes. But I learned, to infuse stuff in the classes. And then if people were on board, they would pick up and learn something new, as long as you gave them, what they were there for, the cardio.
Yeah, that makes sense.
But to teach kickboxing or boxing just slowly first and then fast, I think it helped me from being injured. Oh, the two women, Cynthia Rothrock, the most accoladed kung fu woman in the world who does film. She was in my classes and we became very close.
Nice.
And Kathy Long, accoladed boxer. They were both in my life. So they were teaching me some hard style stuff and I would teach them stretching and a little bit of chi.
How
But
fun.
then, yeah, but so I consider myself lucky because I had two actually powerful female role models teaching me the hardcore stuff. And then later I worked with Tom Seaborn on a couple of videos, and he's Pan American Taekwondo champion. And then I brought, the softness to it, moving into the hard style. Oh, and Janice Saffel, we did our yin yang workout together, which is Tai Chi and kickboxing combined. That's a great video, by
They,
the way.
all the ones I've seen are wonderful. So you have
Like,
about how many videos out there? Like thousands?
no, thousands. No, you mean like each title? You know what? I used to know that. I think it's probably about 30 if I count all the VHS way back. And
Yeah,
uh,
VHS.
I'm hoping to re-release some of my workouts from the late 80s and early 90s because I watched them again and they're hilariously iconic because of the clothing. but the moves are great. And the first video I did with Jeff Vandiver, Body Sculpt Plus, that video is so thorough. And I watched it again. I went, dang, we really, really did our homework on that. And it makes you sweat, lean up, lose weight. So I thought about, I'm about 185 now, and back then I was 170-ish. So I've thought about just doing that program, like every day and seeing what would happen to my body, whether I'd lean out at
Yeah,
862 again
that would be
or
fun, and people would totally get them.
yeah, no, I know they
Would
would.
totally get them if you did that.
I
That
just
would
have to
be
make sure
awesome.
we got all the rides, the music, all that's kind of tricky. So, but Body Sculpt Plus for sure, I can re-release because we own everything on that. So
Did your your story is great. I love that. So let's not to change the subject off that because there's so much to this. But we were talking before we started about you weren't feeling well. You went through. Could you
right,
share more about that? I think that's very helpful to
yeah,
people, and I'm interested in hearing your story. So were they.
2012, I was friends with the founders of a charity called Water School, and Water School goes to Africa and teaches schools, villages, places with tainted water how to have clean drinking water. And they don't build wells because wells get contaminated and there's no one to maintain them. So 30 degrees north or south of the equator, you can put tainted water in a plastic bottle, leave it in the sun for 24 hours, and it will make it, as you drink, yeah, it'll make it drinkable.
Maybe thirsty.
Yeah. So I corralled a wonderful group from Frostburg State University in Maryland, where I traveled a lot to teach wellness workshops and classes to students and faculty. I got them on board, and we had a group of students for an experiential education trip. I flew from California, they flew from DC. We met in Uganda, had a fabulous time, and I came back and started having just wild symptoms. It started off malaria-like, like sweating, and I would be teaching class, and I'd lean over and I'd have to grab onto the floor because I was dizzy. Long story short, I had spinal meningitis, didn't know it until I had 3 stroke-like episodes, and I'm in Palm Springs, California, so they're not infectious disease. It's not the infectious disease capital of the world. So it took a while to figure out what it was. So I actually made it through 7 hours of an 8-hour workshop with a swollen brain and infected spinal fluid.
And you
So,
didn't know you had that.
well, I knew I was ill, but I wasn't sure what it was. But I just kept going, thinking it would go away, and it obviously didn't. So anyway, it knocked me out for actually years, 3 years, and I would still present, but I would be very careful. I'd be in my room, resting right before I'd go on stage. I'd go on stage, present, go back to my room. So my close fitness presenter friends know about this. I didn't really make it public because I had to sell my house. I had to do so many things. And through that, when you go through something like that, the hard part was, and I know many of your viewers and people that we teach are dealing with this, I call it the unexplainables. No one could tell me what the virus was. They said it was viral. I always thought it might have been parasitic, but never found anything. I tested negative for all the viruses they tested me for, but my spinal taps, so I had 3 of those. If you've ever had one, you'll run screaming. You never want to have one again.
I worked in pediatrics for a while, and they would come, Tracy, come hold my so and so's cousin. They need to do a spinal on. So I'd be holding the kids. They're doing it. They're screaming awful. Like
It,
never wanted it. No, so I get it. It's not.
yeah, it's a horrible feeling.
Yeah.
So anyway, the 3rd spinal test showed that the infection was gone, but I still felt like just absolute weak, barely could get out of bed, couldn't sleep, was grinding my teeth. So I learned a lot. And I talked about this a little bit. I would not trade the experience for anything because I feel like I came out of it with so much more knowledge about myself. I had to seek out alternative healing big time. I had to go broke to do it because I had to sell my house. I flew all over the place, even with my head just banging, to try these different things, none of which actually worked. So I learned that when you're coming back from something big, there's often a trajectory that's very slow. So later on, I got asked to work in pain management clinics while I was still kind of healing. And so I agreed to do it. And I tell you, working with other people took me out of my own, pity uh, and into helping them. So I would work some pretty long hours, and afterwards I would be exhausted. But I learned that, okay, focusing my chi, thank God I had Tai Chi and yoga and, the ability to stretch and move my body during that time. Even when I felt awful, I would go out and jump in my pool just to, clear my head. Learning about alternating temperatures in the shower, hot, cold, back and forth, stimulating. So, a lot of people are doing cold plunges now, from hot to cold. So anyway, I learned a lot. I was forced to learn a lot. And when I worked with the people in pain management, our goal was to get them off of meds and into therapeutic healing breath work, movement. Sorry about that.
Oh, there you go. It just glitched for a second.
Yeah, it was a phone call. Should I just keep going?
Oh yeah, you're good. Yeah, keep going. It worked fine.
Okay. So during that time, I was able to assess my own body, and then also working with others, I was able to focus on what truly is healing. And I learned that sense of community, people who care and will listen, the power of touch, the power of being touched, movement therapy, stretching, uh, breath work, prana, chi, life force. Anyway, I really had a crash course in how to work with that and help heal people, and in thus doing so, heal myself. So
You got better kind of without medical people?
absolutely,
Okay.
my primary doctor dumped me after a year and a half, my insurance or something, and so I haven't had a primary care physician since 2014. And I don't. We could have a whole podcast on the perils and sadness of our medical system.
Yeah.
I think it's a big, fat mess. And Mexico has better healthcare. France, definitely Denmark, the Scandinavian countries. I've been to all of them, and
And plus, a
uh,
lot of times are like, because you know what I've gone through in my back. I'm better than I was when we talked last time, but I'm still
yeah,
healing. Still, they had to test me for cancer and everything. A lot of things I haven't shared with people. But like when they see a pain management person, my insurance would have took like 4 months to get in. I'm like, oh, screw that. So I went and paid for it myself. I wasn't going to wait 4 months.
yeah,
So they delay things, or it's just so you kind of work better going on your own if you can sometimes.
yeah. If you can, I mean, it's costly
Yeah.
sometimes and scary. But I'm also not a fan of medication. So if I go to a doctor, they're like, "Which meds are you on?" I'm like, "None." They're like, "Really? You're not on any meds?" I say, "No, I'm not." So anyway, yeah, that's a whole other topic. But yeah, I pretty much, and still to this day, I have weird head pains that I didn't have before. So basically, when your spinal fluid's infected and goes to your brain, it's like a tsunami going through your head, neck, and entire spinal column.
Were you swelling up in your feet and ankles or parts of your body
No,
swelling? Okay.
no, nope. I had no swelling like that, but the brain was swollen. I couldn't talk, or I had 3 episodes where I couldn't speak.
Yeah, when you said you had like three stroke type episodes, can you share about that?
Yeah, that was the brain swelling. So I couldn't feel on one side of my body on one of them. I tried to get my keys out of my pocket. My hand wouldn't go into the pocket. I tried to text a friend. All the letters were scrambled, so I couldn't even. I had in my head the name, but everything looked like hieroglyphics or Greek
Or were you
or
like freaking out?
oh, absolutely, yeah.
Ah,
And then
scary.
you learn about cortisol and adrenaline. So the first thing I do when I'm working with someone who's panicked about being sick or their condition is to do like, what you described earlier about, guided imagery. Let's calm it down. Let's get the cortisol, let's get the stress hormones out of the way so we can see what you're actually dealing with.
Yeah.
I learned that it's the pain syndrome. So throughout my anxiety, I was grinding my teeth, I was not sleeping, I was panicking. I'm sure my cortisol was very high for years, blood pressure too. So that's not good. So when someone's healing, we have to help them. And that's when the power of touch comes in handy, throat, heart, help calm someone down with our own chi. And yeah, so I would do that with every patient in every class, every hour at the clinics. I worked at 4 different clinics around the valley. So I was the traveling healing chi guy.
That's, and this is the thing that people don't get. And I try to tell people, I try to tell my friends and because some of my story. I've lost my stepdad, then my dad, and then my dog, and then my mom, and then I got severe back pain, and I was bedridden in my marriage for a couple years. Just I've gone through things where you're like almost isolated because people don't run and you don't have a lot. I don't know about you. My people don't come spend time with you when you're going through that. Like, oh, well, when you get better, we'll hang out. It's like, but people need people to heal. So I've
Yeah,
always
I,
tell people if you have friends or people, I don't leave your friends isolated. That's harder on them to heal. Harder. It's not good brain care for them. And
yeah, I
people,
discovered that. I discovered that too, Tracy. It was, a lot of the people that I thought would be there for me were not. So I also, I was independent to begin with, but I think I've become maybe too fiercely independent now. So I might have to swing back. And plus, I'm not sure I knew how to ask for help. I mean, I thought I was going down, and I didn't want to call someone and say, I feel like I'm not going to make it, or I mean, I could barely go to the grocery store.
yeah,
Uh, I could barely get in the car to drive to get food. So, I had a couple of friends that I'd pay them to go to the grocery store for me. And, but,
yeah. I
you,
use DoorDash because I can't push grocery. Still can't push a grocery cart through the store.
uh,
I think so. It's been a little over a year. No, I'm way better than I was when we talked. I think we talked in. I don't remember when we talked, but you.
yeah, like a year ago, I
Yeah,
think.
he was so wonderful. He reached out to me and checked on me, and we did a Zoom to talk about pain and I'm just able to rotate the last month. I haven't this whole
Good.
time. Yeah, but I had a lot of but stress had to go away. There's
Yeah,
stress things in my life that I could not let go of because there's something was out of my control. As they fade away, the back seems to calm. But Scott reached out to me and checked on me. We had a Zoom, and he showed me through movements. We talked, and the thing that I so love about that too is you're the only one that didn't try to sell me products. So many people I got, oh, I've been thinking of you. How are you? Oh, thank you. Oh, you want my product? I'm like, okay, you really didn't care. It's like, God. So the first
yeah, I'm
you weren't
great.
like that.
I'm not a great salesman. I mean, if people want, if they like me and want to work out with me, there are many ways to do that. Digital downloads, video, DVDs, Zoom classes.
I
Uh,
want to live closer to you. You can work with me one on one.
yeah,
I'm in Long Beach. You're too far away. Yeah, because what I'm going through, I need a one on one.
yeah,
I need
yeah,
somebody to go, oh, that hurt you doing, oh, you gotta do, because people, when it's one on one, like, like people in the fitness industry know who help people. It's not like, here's a piece of paper, do these 4 exercises, fixes everybody. It's like, wait a minute, you mean that hurts you? Oh, that means this is going on. You travel through what they can and can't do, and
right.
you know that probably more than anybody.
Yeah.
When you,
One thing you may have seen on my Instagram, and I'm kind of exploring this, definitely from my own experience too, of your story. Like, what is your story?
Mhm.
And if I think of myself as a meningitis encephalitis victim, that overly focused thing can consume me and make me not feel bigger than that. Does that make sense?
Yeah,
So,
like it becomes a label on you and almost puts you in a box.
yes. So, in the pain management, I called it the healing circle workouts. I'd have everyone in a chair. By the way, working out in the chair is one of my favorite things to do now. postural. I've got so much chair content. But anyway, we'd all sit in a circle, and I'd have people just briefly say, what's going on with you in your body right now? So some people would linger a long time and say, like, I'll give you an example. I was in a car accident in 1972, and then I fell down on the playground in the fifth grade,
Oh, you did the body, yeah.
and I'd watch their body language just go like, pew. And so everyone was witnessing, and I'd say, hey, with love, did everybody notice the body language? Then we'd point it out to the patient and say, it's great to know your story, but don't get caught in it. Try not to let it affect your body and make you go, oh, I'm a victim. If anything, you have to open your arms up like a bird, which is a chi thing, to breathe and open the heart and let go of that tension, grief, anxiety, stress, whatever's lodging in there, and start to move it along. It's not instantaneous, can be, but you have to open up and start the process of letting go of your story. And I realized I had to do that because whenever I'd go somewhere and the doctor would ask me something, I would tell them the story because I needed to know it, and then I'd kind of linger too long on it. And I thought, you know what? I had to tell myself, that's over. It's over. The infection is over. The aftermath may never be over, but moving through and out of is the dialogue I use now.
Yeah.
Let's move through and out of pain, anxiety, tension, grief, stress, and into a new story. So my new story would be, I was dealt a mysteriously strange blow after my marvelous trip to Uganda to help change the world. And it knocked me on my ass. It knocked me on my ass, and maybe I needed it. Maybe.
Did you ever think like, are you kidding me? I just did this to help other people and I have to deal with this. I mean, did you ever go through those kind of thoughts? Like, what?
Of course. Of course. I was pissed. I was angry. I was sad. I was all of those things. But looking back, I think, you have to allow yourself to be where you are. And that's why I get a little irritated with people who are constantly trying to make someone not angry, trying to make someone not sad. I'm not like that.
I was gonna say
You
that.
need to be sad, you be sad, but I want to help you be aware that you're sad. Some people don't know they're sad. They don't know they're angry. And
And
you
some
can see
people
it.
just automatically, you gotta let that go. You gotta let that go. It's like, it's not like you can walk out and it's like, oh, okay, let that go. Okay.
Yeah.
Surround yourself with these kind of people. Okay, well, I think there's a tree out there. I can go pick them all off a tree. I mean, it's like they make it look like they have all the answers, and maybe they never went through anything, so things just fell into place. I don't know sometimes, because sometimes,
Yeah.
even though I love healers and I've worked with different Reiki people and all different types of sound baths, all different kind of things, but sometimes they'll say things like, "Oh, just gotta let that go." It's like you
Yeah.
just let grief go.
Well,
You don't let things go. You have to feel it, and you do get angry, and then
yeah.
you it's a process.
It is a process. So I think, the way with that is to say, hey, I sense that you're angry since your stroke, and I completely understand that. It sucks. However, we've got to, open up to a new experience. If you want to let this go, let's start the journey. Let's start the process. Let me help you.
Yeah, because those things too, as well, like, how do I put it? Well, you'll get it. You'll pick on. So, like, if we hold on to anger, and it's trying to figure out, am I holding on to it? Or am I just feeling it? You kind of like, where I'm at in this. But
And that's and
if we
that's lit
really
with
at some point don't deal with things, it stays in our cells and organs and causes diseases.
I agree with that. I agree with that. It causes body shutdown. It causes, all kinds of things. And I've witnessed that, with family members. And you know what another interesting topic is? There's no reason that men should die sooner than women. There's no really documented physiological reason. So I've always attributed it to the stress factors that men aren't able to deal with as well as women. I think the macho, you've got to do this, you've got to make a living, you've got to get married, you've got to have kids, you've got to, got to. And I think men are often not nurtured emotionally, certainly in their interpersonal relationships with other men. I think women have a better time with friendships an easier time physically expressing themselves with other women than certainly American men do. European men, Arab men, they're different. They're very affectionate with each other in a non-sexual way. It's
Yeah.
just loving, and I touch my friend, I kiss my friend on the cheek twice. Uh, it, and American men are just kind of bottled up. I think that's part of our violent culture too.
And there's a hey do high five thing. It's not so much embracing and
Yeah,
some
hey,
do, but I know what
hey,
you're saying. Yeah.
hey, bro. They have to always house it in a bro or this to where it's not like, hey, I just love my friend.
Yeah. And plus, I noticed, like, I don't know how, I don't know about your father or anything, or maybe you're friends with older parents, but I know, like, my father and my stepdad both were like, well, they ended up having to go to the doctors when they were older, but they're younger. It's like, we don't want to go to doctors. There's some put us on pills for nothing. We don't trust doctors. So, like, my stepdad never, I think he went to the doctor for some skin stuff, but was 79-ish years old. He started, and 80 years old, he started going more to the doctor for tests. And that's when he found he had prostate cancer. It was so far gone, it went to his bones. But he never went in his earlier years. He thought, oh,
Yeah,
doctors, I don't trust them. So there's some generation of men, it's like they won't even go get their physicals or
yeah,
or
that's
get
true.
a checkup, and that does catch up with them if they
Right.
that as well.
Yeah, I think there's a balance with that. My father died when I was 26. He was 68 of a massive heart attack, and I believe it was, largely emotional shutdown for him. He had been a drinker most of his life, but at the time he had kind of stopped drinking. And my sister was ill in a diabetic coma, so
Oh,
he witnessed that for 2 months, died of a heart attack at home, and then my sister lingered until December. So that's when we lost both. I lost both of them,
so
and
close.
my dad's was a surprise, and my sister's, was something we knew was probably going to happen. So that was a very hard time. I was 26, and that's right when I had finished my year as an aerobic champion, was traveling the world with Jeff Vandiver. So that's, as I mentioned earlier, I think I just blocked all those emotions in and did my work, came back home, did my work, came back home. And then that's when Tai Chi kind of
Well, we kind
opened,
of go not
opened the
purposely sometimes,
doors.
kind of go into survival mode. We got to move
True.
on. We don't
Yeah,
want, but you have to like, okay, and you don't mean to go in fight and flight mode or survival mode,
right.
but sometimes it just kind of happens because life is happening, and
Yeah.
it just, yeah. But when I've had this thing that took me down with my back injury after my mom passed away in February 2023, which I can't believe it's been a year. Um, it made me, I guess it forced me to stop. I stopped writing for a magazine. I stopped doing a lot of stuff. I just had to like stop everything. And I literally had to, because physically I couldn't sit in a chair for a very long time. I had to get
Yeah.
like I you can't tell here, but I can't sit in like normal size chairs yet. I can a little bit, but it hurts. So this is a tall chair. I'm on a stool. I'm pretty high. My desk is well high right now. But you can't tell. But I just have to keep doing what I'm doing until things get there. But
Well, when any of us are impaired, impinged, it affects our motivation. And, you know, I
and
didn't
pain
start,
is exhausting. Pain.
yeah, hey, that's true. It's exhausting. And I didn't feel like writing articles when my head was banging. And, um, and it's understandable how people, need to focus their energies because it's like the hierarchy of needs, and
Mhm.
pain is just, it can be so brutal and disarming that you don't want to do anything. You don't want to talk to people.
And you don't want to be around anyone who's like, oh, they take so much energy. If I
Yeah,
have lunch with them, I'm going to be shut down for the rest of the day. Or you
yeah,
have
yeah,
I'm kind of like that with people anyway. I try to, but sometimes you just know it's like, you know what? Because I have the hearing loss and hearing aids too, and I know certain people, they talk so low, and every time I tell them you have to talk louder, you got to look at me. Like I can't. I'm too tired. That would have sucked up the rest of the energy for the day, and it'd be 1 in the afternoon, and I'm done. So you kind of like have to balance what you got. But when I talked to the pain management doctor, I think it was October, so the way after we talked, he literally told me, because I saw the orthopedic surgeon and everything. He said, I believe that some of this stuff you may need to get done. He goes, but I think you have been living in fight and flight mode for so long that your nerves are just overgoing and they're making all the pain you feel more than it should be feeling. So let's keep writing out
Yeah,
calming. So I've have someone come out once a week and do Reiki. I've done healing sound baths. I have all little sound things here. I walk around and do my little rattles.
love it.
The calming keep me and I take my walks every day. But yeah, but you know, when like the healing part of things, if we're, like if you're rattled, like you were talking about earlier too, it throws off your hormones, it throws off everything, and you have to like to get
Yeah,
that.
that's why I say start with like you're doing, start with the calming first. Get the cortisol and adrenaline out of the way because that contributes to inflammation.
This was a good reminder too. I forgot about that.
Yeah, I was going to say earlier too, there's a 70-30 lesson that I do. I'll try it seated here if I can scoot back. But my feet are on the ground, obviously, and I'm in a bow stance, which is Tai Chi, like firing a bow. But it's 70-30. You shift 70% forward and then back 70%. So you maintain your chi. And the reason that's important is that if we give our power away constantly, like let's say we're impaired, not feeling good, we're going to have less chi for the day, less energy to do our stuff. So we don't want to give it away by talking to someone that talks too much or depletes us. We want to be around people that, inspire us. So this is a great example because if I go 100 0 or 90% forward, you can pull me off balance. If I shift 70 and you try to pull me, I can soften and ease back into my leg base and actually pull you off balance. So it's a multidimensional lesson. I like that word, multidimensional.
Ah,
Multidimensional lesson of maintaining your chi. And as teachers and givers, which we're in this to make a difference. We have to come back to center and take care of ourselves. So
exactly.
I've thought many times about if I rose above what happened to me in 2012. It could have been that my chi was just completely exhausted and allowed this whatever to get in, reset me, and then move forward with more knowledge. That would be, I don't know, a fantasy look at hopefully what might have happened. But
Well,
there,
also too, when you seem like you're a lot like me in this point, where when you're with your customers, your clients, or your groups, you're 100% there for them,
totally.
giving. And we try not to give so much for ourselves, but we're there because you truly want to heal that person.
Mhm.
So right before I keep saying 9/11, right before the COVID shutdowns and everything was happening, I there was about a month or two, almost daily, when I was getting ready for clients to come, I was crying. I was exhausted. It's like I can't do this anymore. I can't keep giving like this. I can't do this, and I would cry. Then I'd get myself together and see my clients, and because I was given so much to the stroke community and everything I was doing, but I loved doing it. But I think I was giving more than
You were taking in. Yeah.
yeah, because I thought this feels so good to do it, and it didn't feel like it would be any harm to me because someone starts moving their arm and someone tells them your arm will never move again, but I worked on their arm move. That fascinated me, and I kept wanting to learn more and help them more. And if I can help someone walk, I mean, I never thought that was turning on me in a way, and
Yeah.
that I
Sometimes,
wasn't getting my balance.
yeah, sometimes it can surprise us, I think. And so I know a lot of parents that run themselves ragged, taking the kids everywhere, never have time for themselves. There's usually an emotional breakdown at some point
Yeah.
where, don't bother mommy, she's tired, or don't bother dad, he needs some time alone. And a lot of people don't understand that and don't take that opportunity. I do now, especially when I'm not feeling, you know, up to par. I will cocoon until I feel better, and I'll watch my Murder She Wrote or so. I like to watch old TV series.
I do too because they're
I'll do
not
that.
stressful. The old stuff doesn't. I always put on old stuff too because it's just like, oh, I've probably seen it before, but I don't have to spend so much time focusing. I know it's not going to be this crazy because a lot of the newer stuff's
Yeah,
more
violent.
drama and more uh, uh, violent and stuff.
Yeah,
and
right.
I like the things that I feel good when I walk away from it. Sometimes
Yeah,
I'll leave that on. Like, sounds funny, but the Ugly Betty, that show is funny, but my dog likes it. So if I'm doing stuff right now, I'll leave reruns of Ugly Betty on in that room so he can kind of chill. And
yeah.
it's funny. He likes that show. I'm like, okay. So yeah, the thing was after I talked to you, one of the neighbors who lives 2 blocks over, he always him and his wife live over there. But he always walks his dog, and so one day we're talking. He says, "Do you want a dog?" He said, "Because his owners died and your parents died. Maybe you guys need each other." So it was a brown Labradoodle who was 10 that needed a home. I'm like, I don't know. I didn't know if I could ever like have something besides my wasabi. So I met the dog and he's wonderful, and I have him, and he's perfect. He's good. But so
Sweet.
now I have a dog. But yeah, and it's kind of healing with him too, just to have him.
Yeah, pets are healing, people are healing, nature is healing. I mean, I would go out in nature every chance I got, even if I felt bad. Just connecting barefoot to the earth, the grounding principle, very important. I emphasize that a lot in the healing circle workouts with the patients. Um, I'd say make sure your feet are warm. You don't want to have walk around with cold feet, but if you can be barefoot in a warm place, feet touching the ground, it's a
Why
good
not
thing.
cold feet? I mean, why would you say that?
Well, when your immune system is diminished, you want to keep your feet warm.
Oh,
So energy centers in the feet. You can lose a lot of heat through your feet and through your head and hands too. So whenever I start to feel like I'm getting a cold, I'll do my grapefruit seed extract in water. I'll put socks on, maybe put some castor oil or some essential oil mixed with olive oil on my feet, and
interesting.
put thick socks on and go to bed. And usually I'll wake up fine.
I never knew that.
Yeah. So I don't do the
I'll go in the backyard barefoot and I'll try to ground myself. And sometimes the grass is cold, sometimes the cement's cold, but I never put it together. It'd be better
well.
warmer.
I mean, I'm barefoot right now and my feet are cold. It's not about you don't have to keep your feet warm all the time, but if you feel like you're starting to get a cold or feeling like your
No.
system is a little low, put on the socks, put some essential oil, make sure you're warm, and then lie down, take a nap.
Interesting. I say I knew I
I'm
knew stuff from you.
I, I'm a big napper too. I and that a lot of that started during my post encephalitis thing, but um, Europeans do it. That's why they close in the afternoon. They're
Yeah.
taking a siesta or an afternoon break, and
Self.
I think our bodies need that. I mean, I can put my head down for 15, the 20-minute nap really works for me, and I can pop right up, get going again.
So I wanted to ask you too, and still if you don't want to answer this part anyway. So when you were talking about what you went through with, I don't want to call it illness, but what you went through in
Yeah,
2012 and your brain and everything. Well, as a child, you had something, and
yeah.
interrelated.
I mean, who the hell knows? I had my fourth birthday in the hospital in Houston because I had a mysterious virus. And then they put me on sulfa drug, sulfa, SULFA. I still remember what it tasted like. What
But
turned out,
they were little. They were huge pills too.
I think so, and they had kind of a sulfur.
Yeah.
They were yellow or pink. I can't remember. But anyway, they put me on that, and come to find out, I'm deathly allergic to sulfa. So I started throwing that up. Uh, my mom called the doctor. Doctor said, "Well, give him another batch. Could have been the food." Gave me another batch. Anyway, lost my hearing, went into a little coma. They had me in the hospital for 2 weeks. And I had a swollen brain. Had encephalitis from the sulfa drug. So I don't think the two are related, but the
So like
tragedy.
an allergic reaction, maybe kind of.
Yeah. So after that, I had to be at home in quarantine for 6 weeks, a 4-year-old in quarantine. So I remember I had my training wheels on my bike. I rode around. We had a circle through the den, the entry hall, the living room, the kitchen. I'd ride my bike, bumping the walls, and my poor parents. But then
But that was
And
smart of them that they set the house up and the bike up for you to do that.
yes, and then I had to be on cortisol afterwards, which is a I'm not cortisone. Sorry,
Okay.
cortisone, which is a steroid. So it's the only time in my life I was ever fat. So there's pictures of me, a 4-year-old, sitting on the back going, "Hmm," and I was chunky
Oh, that's right.
because,
Steroids make you swell up.
well, yeah, and you couldn't. I was on that because I could not get another infection. They didn't want me outside. They didn't want me getting even a cold. So almost like COVID people, had to be
Yeah.
quarantined so they wouldn't, be exposed to anything else that's worse. So that was that. But the tragic yet interesting yet hilarious irony is, I've had encephalitis twice in my life. So swollen brain, kind of almost tragically twice. One at age 4, one at age 50. So kind of fascinating.
Yeah. So, wait, just to ask this, you said your sister had diabetes. Was she born with it?
Yeah, she was type 1, diagnosed at age 6.
Oh, that's young.
Yeah, and then she had a series of depressing things. She lost her job in the Houston economy. She was divorced from the same man twice. And she kind of let herself drift into an I don't know if I took my insulin state. And she put on a great show for us at home. And we thought everything was fine. And then my parents found her in a coma. And it was evident that she hadn't been regulating herself for a while. So her brain sustained a lot of damage and she never came out of it.
And she was young.
35. Yes. Yeah.
That's my dad had diabetes. I don't think he noticed. He didn't learn of it till later because probably he didn't go to the doctors and stuff. But he ended up his last 5 years of life 3 days a week on dialysis,
Yeah.
and so
Well, I think with anything, and if I could go back, looking back, there were signs that, but I was 25 years old, 26 years old when she got sick. So, I know a lot more now.
yeah.
That is-
If we were so smart at that time, you look
yeah.
back, I really didn't know as much as I thought I knew when I was 25, but I thought I knew a lot. Yeah.
Yeah. But the point I was trying to make was we have to pay attention to ourselves, our own body, but also develop your skills, your intuitive skills to be aware of others, the people around you, and to be able to detect something's up. What is it? Tell
That
me.
was one of my questions for you on my list because you work from your soul and good energy. That usually makes people more intuitive.
I feel that.
Yes. So, do you find? I'll give you an example. So, years ago, I was at my studio in Huntington Beach. I had my studio there for like 17 years. And I think I had a client coming like an hour. And I remember I never had knee issues. I still don't. But all of a sudden, I had knee pain. I'm like, weird. Why does my knee hurt so much? Last about 20 minutes and went away. Next client walks in. Oh, I fell down and thrashed my knee. So I started getting that kind of stuff. I would kind of pick up on things. Next client would come and tell me they had it. Or I would sense who had cancer. I don't want to have that gift, but sometimes I get that. And I've had
Yeah.
to learn to. Sometimes I'm good at it, other times like I can't shake it. I remember my stepfather, when I was in Oregon, he would, come see my dog or come walk dog, whatever. Would he would help me, whatever, at my house, and he'd be leaving. And I remember for like 6 months before he was sick, something would say he has bone cancer. I'm like,
Mhm.
and he did. But I hate it. I like it, but I hate it. But it's also when you're working with clients, especially like, when I was working with brain injuries and stuff with everybody, it helped me. Your intuitiveness helps you create the right thing for the person you're with too. You connect.
Well, and
You have to not take it on. So
also, you and I have been working with bodies and people since age 18. So that's 45, 44 years.
yeah.
So there are patterns. And especially when I worked in the pain management for 5 years, the doctors allowed me to recommend MRIs for people because I'd work with them for an hour. I'd find a blockage or a lump or something, and I'd say, "This looks odd. When did this come about?" So they allowed me to give input, and usually they would take my word and find, do
They
MRI,
tested you. Yeah.
well, and they would find things. And after my encephalitis, I feel like I have like a, it's not 100%, but I do have a body scanning ability that I don't remember having before.
Yeah.
So I kind of think
Yeah.
uh, it's an intuitive thing, and
Definitely is. And you listen to it. So like you may think, like, okay, yes, patterns show you kind of go, this is something that, the logical stuff we know and knowledge and experience.
yeah,
And I think if you didn't have that intuitive part of connected to healing within yourself and understanding healing, you may not even have picked up on that part of it.
true,
Because some people they're just by like, you go to physical therapist and they just follow the piece of paper. It's like, no, here's
right,
4 exercises for this. No, it's, you know what I mean?
yeah. So back to the power of touch, the power of compassion, listening.
Mhm.
A person has energy that they have to let go of, especially when they are feeling less than. So you got to let them get it out. And I do this with my Tai Chi classes. I'll do kind of the fun Elvis moves in the beginning and tapping and all these things, vibrational. Sometimes we'll do a Tarzan yell. And all that's to like get your chi moving and get it out. And then you focus on refining and moving and drawing in new energy. It's the same principle for healing. You've got to lighten up, loosen up, let go of some of your anxiety, if not all of it, and then proceed into, okay, what am I dealing with? How can I stay in the moment, not panic, and do my best to heal this in a step by step process, knowing that the trajectory might be really slow, or you might get something like this. It just depends on what it is.
So how do you do it differently? If not differently, maybe exactly the same. What if someone's like in that? I don't know if you've ever had post-traumatic stress. I know I have it for not like from being in war, like a soldier or military,
Right.
but a sense of it because of things I've gone through in my life. I had stalkers and stuff. I've had to shut down my business and website before, like move because of right. So you go through stuff, so you deal with it. But so I know if I get in that, sometimes I rock, or that I don't know how to explain it, but it's almost like you get this, not like you hear a buzzing, but your body's kind of, it's almost like you can feel your buzzing and anxiety or stress, but you can't just like shut it off.
Yeah.
Everybody's different. What is your suggestion for someone who's in that kind of stage? Because it may not shake with one breath, or it may take 3 days to get out of it, or
Well,
what
you've got to breathe, calm yourself down, and also do what we did. You've got to start, opening up. You've got to start moving the
because
body.
a lot of people they start doing this when they're hurting instead of
Yeah, the posture of breathing is that to protect the heart. So years ago, a colleague and very good friend of mine shared with me that she had been abused by her father from a very young age, and she had squelched the memory until her therapist put her into a body position with her head back and just kind of opening here, and it triggered all of the memories. So that gets back to what we started with, is that the body knows a lot of things. The body's not just this thing we have the privilege to be in for a while. The body is an organic, uh, you know, system that goes, with us. Where
smart.
what's that?
It's smart.
It's smart. Yeah, it's like the earth. It's its own entity, and so the body. I always tell people this: the body wants to heal. The body wants to get better. The body wants to feel better. The body wants to function in an ideal, wonderful state. So sometimes our mind gets in the way of that body functioning in that state. So we've got to learn to kind of integrate. And that's another reason that chakra work and Tai Chi is so important, to integrate. So based on what I've been through, I do a lot of spinal work, tree in the breeze and launching out of your pelvis, and keeping the spine really buoyant, upright, active, and alive, so that messaging to the brain and movement of chi, movement of energy through the body doesn't get blocked or impaired by tension, anxiety, stress, lack of breathing, or our mental thoughts of chaos or doom and gloom. So I don't know if that explains it a little, but
It does. And
yeah.
I know, okay, so two more things. I could talk to you like forever. But okay, so I know, well, with for me, with my spine, because I'm so, I mean, I teach yoga, I teach Pilates, I'm in fitness, I'm all about stretching. I've done things you teach and movement. And I almost could do cat and cow type movement without my back hurting now. I all this time I haven't been able to do any spine movement.
Yeah.
I walked, I wasn't rotating. One side would rotate, so I try to work on that, but it would hurt. So I had to, it's like, so here I am. And plus, I have one of my books is The Power of the Spine. It talks about the rotation of the spine when you walk. And oddly enough, that book sold the most with the month I was in the most pain. And I'm like, I can't heal myself. So with all that, I couldn't, it's like I guess I had time had to be in me before it could start healing. I
Yeah.
don't know. So
Yeah.
I'm going with it. Every day I wake up, am I better? Dang, I'm not better. So like when you were going through your stuff in 2012 and stuff, were you also kind of like, I do this for a living, I can't get myself better? Or were
Yeah.
you
I was very,
oh my God.
yeah, I was very upset that I couldn't just snap my fingers and be better.
Yeah. Or can I just have one Reiki session and it's all over? Because in the past
Yeah.
the stuff worked.
Yeah. I mean, I did and still do. I believe in vibrational healing. I believe in hands on. And when I say healing, I don't mean poof, you're better. I mean, like, it's all contributory to the layers that you want to have in your life um, in order to move forward and progress in your healing process.
And helping move stuff out of the way. It's stopping things from flowing. Like
Yes,
like
yeah,
like it
moving the anxiety out of the way,
yeah.
letting go of tension, opening up through the heart is a big one. Because you don't want that panic and inflammation getting in the way of your healing. So, and another thing, I can't say I want to die, but I'm not afraid of it as much as I used to be because I thought I was done. I thought I was going out.
I
So
totally get what you're saying with that.
so I thought okay, let's say I am going out. And then I thought about what, you know, cancer patients must feel when they know that their time is limited. And and I do believe in shifting into the moment, staying there as much as you can, try not to project the anxiety forward and just be right here because you don't know if they're going to get hit by a bus or whether you're going to get something or whether go out with a terminal disease. We're all going to be dealing with something at some point. So it behooves us all to remain as calm as we can and to help others remain as calm as they can through our love, our touch, and our healing energies that we all have. We all have the ability to touch and help each other. So
And I really wish more people understood that. I know a lot of people are in their own world, trying to take care of their own selves and what they're going through. But like we were talking earlier, and I talk about this, I think almost every show, how maybe because I've been through it, but also I think as a kid I would see people alone and I used to assume they were lonely. And I always felt sorry for older people. I saw them alone in restaurants. I'm like, oh my God, they must be so lonely. It's just this thing. And so when I've gone through my stuff, I like right now, I don't have any family. I mean, I have two brothers, but they've never been part of my life. They've never been nice people, and just they've done bad things. That's part of the stress that's gone on after my dad died. But so I don't really have anybody right now, except for my friends here and there. But I don't think people fully understand what it means when they know someone's alone. It's almost like if someone people always say, reach out to your friends, tell people you're lonely, tell people you need them, but people don't usually respond like they do in movies or like,
yeah,
like
I think
people have to like get through things on their own and you don't want
yeah,
to, but you kind of have to. Then you learn, like you're saying, you almost learn to be so self-efficient, but you kind of need to reach out, but you kind of find that balance. But sometimes it's like, these are just doing on my own. You know what I mean? You get it.
yeah.
You're kind of
Well,
talking
I think Community's vital. I mean, if anything, I rely on maybe three, four, or five friends these days. I don't, I post big stuff, and I have 25,000 followers on Instagram. I know you've got a lot too, and I like all that, but I'm really more of an introvert pretending to be an extrovert, and my extroversion is through my work mainly.
Yeah.
I love to teach. I love helping people. I do love being in front of a fun audience that's ready to learn and listen and broaden themselves and broaden me by attending my stuff. So yeah, I get my community, but I'm alone a lot.
Yeah.
I have three little homes that I go back and forth between, and it's usually by myself because no one else would want to drive as much as I do and travel with me. That's why I don't have a pet either. I think my pet would be exhausted going back and forth, but I love nature. Right now I'm up in the snow. Let me show you real fast.
What's snowing there?
Well, it has snowed. Yeah, can you see it?
Yeah, it's pretty.
Yeah, so I'm up in the mountains,
Nice.
and then I was just in the desert, and then I have a little place in Mexico, in Baja, a little trailer down in Ensenada. So I go down there and I can Zoom from any of them. And, it's an interesting world. And I think the detachment from community is affecting everybody. Um, Not, because Zoom classes are big, and the conventions aren't really back yet. Some yoga conventions, a couple of fitness conventions, but it's not nearly what it was before COVID yet.
It's a different vibe. It doesn't things don't feel like they did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think we have to energetically address that and then figure out how to come back to a healthy realm of happy interaction,
Yeah.
friendship circles, meeting for game nights, whatever it is you like to do.
That's the best
I,
thing. Playing games and giggling with friends is like that's like the best.
yeah, I think we've all socially suffered in the last 4 years through COVID and the aftermath of COVID. And there's such division in our country right now too that it's a very angry place.
Have
And
you? And
it's
not that I want to bring this up, but I don't know about you. I know, I mean, you see, I don't watch a lot of news, but if you're on your email, you see stuff. You just know there's more crimes. But I'm in a really good neighborhood. But we've had homes broken into, cars broken into. I just got security cameras put up a few weeks ago. It's kind of a funny story, but it's not. So I think it was last Wednesday, somebody let their dog take a giant poo outside my house, my front yard. It was smelt when I opened the door. It's like, what is this? So I'm like, I'm going to go to my cameras and I'm going to see who's doing this. So it's boring watching the cameras video. I'm like, oh, crazy. How do people watch all this? I'm watching it. It gets to like 3 a.m. and all of a sudden I see two guys pull up to the girl's car across the street from me, jump out of the car, jack up her car, steal her converter thing everyone's stealing, drive back down, take off. I'm like, oh my God,
you got
out the window. And I'm like, oh my God. So it happened like a bunch of places around the neighborhood. So, of course, my house is, secure, got extra locks and gates and being secure, but it's kind of an extra little stress knowing that
yeah,
that's happening around. But it's like happening everywhere. Like I have, I live in that small town of Oregon, which is much less crimes, and you feel a little safer there. But even they're getting stuff too. It's like the world's kind of different in that way too.
yeah. I don't know what to say about that other than do your best to protect your stuff. But eh, I don't know. I don't know what.
You have that, and you seem like you have little areas, but you're kind of maybe not in that. You found little
No,
good
no,
stuff.
no. Well, we have crime.
Oh, you
No,
get to okay.
excuse me. We've had an increase in this little town up here, also of stuff, break-ins, and so I don't know why. Yeah, this used to be quiet, peaceful, not much happened.
Yeah, same here too. Yeah, I'm just up things. In fact, I just got back to writing my articles for the Live, Left, and Eat magazine, and my article is about things to make your house feel safer. And I listed all the things: get this hook, put this in your window, just things to up
Right.
your security, just so you feel so you can lay in bed at night. So now I'm secure, do those things. But yeah, I wanted to ask that too. I was just curious, like, do
Well,
happening in the world's a
I,
little different.
I try not to. I think a certain amount of fear is good, but to live in fear is not.
Not good. Yeah.
So it's back to the balance. How much do you panic? How much do you worry about it? I mean,
Yeah.
uh, if someone steals your catalytic converter, they steal it. So for
Yeah.
you to worry about it, 7 days a week is a waste. To be concerned and to set up cameras, I think that's a proactive,
Yeah.
great fun. And then, live your life as if everything's going to be okay until,
Exactly.
until it's not.
Yeah. Yeah. Do what you do. Take up your physical matters. Do
Yeah,
whatever you do. Prayer rise or ask the angels to watch over whoever you are. That way to feel safe too. Do whatever your whole world because we have our physical world and we do our spiritual thoughts and beliefs and
I've kind of I
it's
joke that
all.
I've turned into like a Taoist druid would be the best description of my spirituality. Just a real connection to nature, and doing my best to put out good energy to others, to be open to receive good energy from others, to be able to recognize when I need to deflect negative energy away from me, to recognize, like we talked about, when I need to be alone to recharge, rejuvenate, and when it's time to go out and be, Scott Cole, the wellness fitness guy that loves to be out there.
And
And
when you try to stay in that mindset, as much as you can kind of intuitively just know when you're supposed to be doing something.
that,
Out with friends now. You kind of, your
that's
body and brain tells you.
yeah,
You're
certainly the goal, Tracy. But we're all human, so we're all living in a state of flux, and sometimes we go too far this way, we go too far that way, and it's like this journey of coming back to center.
yeah,
If we go too far over here, like let's say someone who chooses drugs as their thing, they might go so far over that they're not able to come back. So the people that dabble, come back, have a little bit more ability to stay centered than going 100-0 one direction or the other,
yeah.
and like panicking too much, or being oblivious too much to where you leave your doors open and they steal everything in your house.
Exactly. Yeah.
So yeah, there are those. So you have to just kind of navigate your own little ship and
Yeah.
steer to where you're in waters that feel comfortable, and you have to challenge yourself too. That's part of that 70-30 is 50-50 doesn't get you anywhere. You have to take a risk and then come back, and then take a risk and then come back to move your chi into a different space.
And the way life is, and we have people and whatever, you can't stay this way all the time because this is things are happening.
Yeah, it's impossible. And
World, yeah.
I think everyone's trying to, okay, once I retire, I will hunker down and do this. My dad died with travel brochures on the table next to him.
Aw.
And that always registered with me. And he wanted to travel, and we did a little bit of that, but he only had like 2 years, a year and a half of quote retirement. He had worked his whole life for that time. So note to self, I did not want to do that. I wanted an entrepreneurial career. I wanted freedom. I wanted my work to hopefully inspire. Everything I do is designed to feel good and inspire, make a difference. And I've been very clear on that
And
since
you've
day.
done very well of that.
Well,
Anyone who knows you work and probably personally, professionally, and as customers and clients, it's watch you or come to your classes or bought your videos or DVDs and books. Um, I totally see you as that. You've totally hit that.
well,
You
hopefully, and
yourself. Totally.
otherwise, what's the point? Let's do. I do these affirmation poses. Do them with me if you want. There's strength, and then you let go of the clenched fist. So it's strength without the clench, the strength without the clench. Self appreciation. You put one arm over the other. Just breathe a moment in that self appreciation. So let's appreciate who we are. and then switch arms for self-preservation. And kind of just gently think about appreciation, preservation. So I'm appreciating who I am, what I have, what I've done, and I'm going to preserve to the best of my ability um, myself and my integrity and all of that. So the next one is opening up, vulnerable, loving, giving, creating, sharing. Otherwise, what's the point? And that gets back to what we're talking about. Like our work is designed, for this, the opening up, sharing, giving, making a difference. And then stepping forward, letting go of expectation and outcome into a happier, healthier, clearer space.
So, so before we go, no, I hate ending my shows. So I get such good conversations with people. Um, if you have not heard of Scott Cole, scottcole.com,
Yep.
SCOTT dot Cole.com.
Yes.
That's
SCOTCOLE.
I recommend everything he's written and done. It's inspired me. And the thing is too, I think I met you once in person like decades ago at an idea convention.
At a convention,
Probably
yes.
passing, and I wasn't, it's like hi and stuff like that. But we haven't really met. Just this way.
I have memory of
I don't.
I also have memory of meeting you at a convention. I'm not sure which one, but
Yeah, it's in
maybe
the
it was.
90s or something. Yeah, a long time ago. I think it was in Anaheim, if I remember.
Oh, yeah, probably. That was idea.
Yeah.
Also, Tracy, my Instagram is at Scott Cole Wellness. And I have a lot of fake profiles out there. People have been stealing my photos, my image, my videos, but at Scott Cole Wellness, there'll be about 25,000 followers. That's my legitimate Instagram.
And everything. So when I share the video, so for those who are watching, if Health and Fitness Show with Tracy is on podcast. You can listen to it on a bunch of different podcast channels. Plus, you can watch it on YouTube. And everywhere it's at, you will see all the contact information for him. I will list all your things there. So
thank you.
If you don't write them down here, they'll be there. And so tell us just where you're at now and what you're doing with people right now, because you said you're working more the pain management type thing.
Yes. So I'm doing Zoom classes. You can sign up on the homepage of scottcole.com. You'll be part of my email list, and I send out very few e-blasts. It will be to identify the next Zoom class, which is done usually in the chair and standing. I have a great group from all over the world. They're really kooky, fun, and wonderful. I have people from France, Chile, Germany, Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia.
Is it always Saturday morning?
It is usually Saturday mornings at 8:30 Pacific time, but it's not every Saturday morning. It's like every 2 or 3 weeks.
Okay.
And then I also am doing workshops for AAAI ISMA. So I know the podcast will air and go beyond my next workshop, but I have a stretching choreography 3-hour workshop coming up April 20th, but I'll be repeating that at future dates, along with Discover Tai Chi in the chair, and also my Discover Tai Chi certification for instructors. I'm doing less of that. We're going to probably piecemeal that into 2-hour increments, so it's not a long 8-hour day on Zoom.
Isn't it weird doing more on Zoom than in person these days too?
Hey, I'm putting it out there. I'm ready to present live again because I love it. And I'll be at Rancho La Puerta in December, teaching a Chi week there in Tecate, Mexico, just across the border. What else?
My God, if you presented live, you'd have like one of the fullest classes at the convention and stuff. People would just be swarming to you.
Well, I would hope
so. Would be coming to you. I mean, all of us that do things would be there.
Yeah. Well, I would hope so. And there is a AAAI convention coming up in September. So you'll hear about that. It will be in Princeton, New Jersey, and it will be also honoring Nora Anderson, who just passed away, the founder of AAAI ISMA.
Was that your friend that passed away last week?
No, different friend. Yeah.
Sorry, you lost your friend. I have a friend in the ICU right now that he's a little bit older than me. His wife's been talking to me every day, and she has to decide. It's going to be like any moment. And it
Yeah.
could have happened while we're talking. There's a lot of that going on right now.
Yeah, and all we can do, I guess, is send out loving energy, however you do that,
Mhm.
through dialogue, through prayer, through I always send out my chi if I can when I'm out in nature, like near a tree, or um, to me it just feels more authentic for
Yeah,
me.
that's nice.
But I mean, you can do it anywhere. You don't have to be in a magnificent location. But no, I'm always trying to send out good thoughts to others and hoping that that makes a difference.
And it is true nature. When I lived in Oregon for the 8 years, we would be in the forest a lot, hiking and stuff and walking and just being in that nature. Sometimes it felt so magical. You almost felt the healing just being in some nature spots that was like, some were just like, felt so woo woo. I think fairies should be flying by. I miss,
Yeah,
that's one thing I missed about Oregon. It was
yeah, it's
lovely.
beautiful.
Yeah.
Well, I met a woman once who healed herself, or healed from cancer, and she moved to a little house next to a river. She was so moved by the beauty of that space. So she really isolated herself and got in the river every day, sometimes 2 or 3 times a day, breathing, letting the water flow, just be there, the sounds, the nature. And she got rid of whatever it was. I remember her telling me the story. It was at the lodge at Woodlock in the Poconos when I was presenting there. She was an instructor that came and went. But yeah, it was kind of an amazing story. And it made me really think about the healing powers of nature and
Oh, yeah. And
taking ourselves out of areas that have a lot of sound waves and internet stuff, and maybe getting out and just breathing and giving your body a chance to detox from some of the modern things that might be contributing to our
yeah.
stress, anxiety.
I know, one of the places or so I was in a small town, Florence, but there was even a smaller town, like 25 miles up the road, and there was we were right by the ocean, literally, like, the ocean was right there, and there were little rivers and streams. I'd go to this one spot, what's the name of the town? I forget the name of the town. It was very cute, I mean, literally tiny. It was like a block. Um, I take my dog with me to the beach there, and the ocean would be right here, but you turn around and walk in the sand, you're in this little creek. Well, if I stood in that creek barefoot, I swear if I had like a twinge in my back or a twinge in my hip, it would just all go away.
It would go away. Yeah,
Oh, stop, you get in the water, you gotta do this with me. And I'd force him to stand there with me so we'd get to do.
yeah,
Yeah, there's certain spots that just feel
yeah. They feel
like
energetically blessed. Yeah,
yeah.
I do believe in energetic spots or vortices where people and it might be different for everybody. Like the healing spot for you might be different for me.
Mhm.
So, some people are at peace amongst the trees. Some people like to walk on the beach. I happen to like everything. So I'm kind of a, healing,
Yeah.
healing whatever. Yeah.
Well, my happy place for years was I grew up in Long Beach, but I was in Huntington Beach forever too. But I would always drive to Belmont Shores, Long Beach, down there by the ocean, by the Queen Mary, and that was like
Yeah.
a happy place. I'd walk there. That where I put my feet in the ocean and stuff. Um, but the last year, I haven't been able to drive my car that far with my back. But I've made my backyard really.
Yeah.
I made it so like it feels like a little healing zone, and I have my flowers everywhere, and I got my saltwater
Sweet.
spa, and just this. But there's so much crime down there now that it it's not the same at that spot. So my happy spot that I had for like 20 years is shifted. That energy is just different.
Right. And we shift, spots
Yeah.
shift, neighborhoods shift, our mindset shifts,
Yeah.
everything shifts. So I think if we try to cling to, just kind of move, you get the nudge, move.
Yeah.
Um,
So what
opportunity.
needs to work sometimes doesn't always work. So you have to,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, I'm going to be making possibly an energetic shift coming up. I'm not going to talk about it. We'll save that for another time, but
And we'll
it might
talk
happen.
again too. You're fun to
I'll
talk
keep you
to
I'll
about it.
keep you posted. Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for being here. Again, everybody, this is Scott Cole, www.scottcole.com. When you're watching, if you forget it, look down. And yes, follow him. He's amazing and
Yeah,
healing and caring.
yeah, awesome. Thank you, Tracy. It was wonderful. Good to see
Thank
you.
you so much.
Yeah,
And I will send you all the links when everything's going. So probably like, well,
beautiful.
don't hang up. I'm going to
Okay.
recording. Okay. Thank you everybody for listening to the Health and Fitness Show with Tracy. I'm so glad you could be here. You know, I love talking to my people and we go on because there's such wonderful things to talk about. You can find me at www.tracymarkley.com, TracyMarkley.com. And there's links to all my social media there and where you can listen to the podcast. And everyone have a good day. And like I always say, be kind to yourself, be kind to others, because that's good brain care for you and for them. Bye, everyone.